So first of all, I just want to say what sparked me to do this video, and it actually is out of concern that Hassan Campbell has actually gone too far this time. But as always, my larger subject matter is the Great Plague of child abuse and the death of the ecosystem and the end of civilization. So just real quickly before I start talking about Hassan, I just want to make something clear. When I talk about people like Sammy the Bull or Hassan Campbell, especially guys like that, street guys who've probably been through way more trials and tribulations than I ever have, it's not for me to judge them. That's not what this is about. If you really think about it, that's like what religion tells you. Oh, I'm gonna be up in that heaven, floating on a cloud with wings on my back, because I'm perfect and I never did nothing to nobody and I followed all the rules, and all these sinners are gonna be burning down in hell. And there's Sammy the Bull and he's burning in hell, and there's Hassan Campbell and they're scumbags and they're burning in hell, and I'm good. You know, no, I don't think that way at all. In fact, the whole point of what I'm doing is to shine a light on the fact that these men are the way they are because they were abused as children, as helpless children. And the thing with Hassan Campbell is he literally started out on YouTube doing the same thing I'm doing, which is anti-child abuse advocacy. So he is relevant to this channel. And actually knew about Hassan and heard about him before I even knew what his name was, because I just so happened to hear the episode of Star where he said, I got this guy I'm going to bring out. I'm not going to tell you his name yet, but he is an official street boss. Those were the exact words. He was an official street boss from the BX, and he's going to shine the light on serial child molester, child rapist, Africa Bambaataa, and the cult, it seems, of weirdo child molester stuff that went on around Bambaataa. And to the larger aspect, the larger fact that everybody seems to knew about it. It seems to have been common knowledge that this was going on. So right from the jump, I thought it was very brave of Hassan Campbell to come out as a child abuse victim, especially a man in his position, a street dude, a tough guy, to come out and say, I got molested. That's hard. That takes courage. And so I always wanted Hassan Campbell to win. I always wanted him to, of course, we're doing the same thing. I want to see another anti-child abuse advocate win. Way more popular than me, that's for sure. But over time, you just start to see that Hassan Campbell is mentally ill. And it's gotten to the point now where this latest video is like, honestly, this latest video that he did is like, this is my impression of it. Hassan Campbell is trying to ether himself. Hassan Campbell is somehow subconsciously doing this thing. He's trying to make an example out of himself in the worst possible way. And he just seems to have this self-destructive streak in him where he can't accept the blessings he has. He needs to be validated by the very same people he preaches against. Okay, yeah, sure, he's a hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. Everybody's a hypocrite. Hassan Campbell is like a level 10 hypocrite. he's like one of the biggest hypocrites I've ever seen. But so what? He's entertaining, and a lot of the shit he says is true. You can't deny that. But, a lot of the stuff he says, of course, I don't agree with. I mean, I'm not going to go all into it, but if anything, as an anti-child abuse advocate, the one thing that bothers me about Hassan Campbell the most is the fact that he disowned his own son for being gay, I think. And it's really tragic because Hassan Campbell can almost blame himself for this. He wasn't there. He was too busy being locked up for shooting down other people over, what, money? I don't know, money. And he left his son out there to be victimized by the same type of people who victimized him. And then what, you're going to disown the son that you failed him as a father? Are you going to disown him? That bothers me more than any of the stuff that Hassan says. But I still don't want to see him go out like this. Ethering himself. All the advice that he gives people on his channel are all the things that he does himself. He breaks his own advice, like in every single way. And you can even just see from the aura, this aura of, you know, look at the clothes he wears, the expensive jewelry, sweaters with little demon serial killer bears, teddy bears on the front. The aura of you're almost a millionaire just from speaking your mind, bro. And you want to go back to BX River and what, stun on people? Flash your gun on people? That's crazy. That's crazy. Hassan Campbell, you're not a poor righteous teacher anymore. You're moving into the territory of Preacher Porkchop, who says one thing and does the exact opposite and gets paid for doing it and gets rich. You know, there's all this talk about, and this is something Hassan talks about, of these rich rappers who go back to their own neighborhood and get murdered. And it's like, and everyone says, oh man, they're haters, dog. Don't go back to the hood. Everyone's a hater. They're haters. They don't want to see you successful. But is that true? When De La Soul goes back to Amityville, did they get set up to get murdered? Does J. Cole get set up to get hit when he visits Vietnam? Or is it about these type of rappers that come back around people who are still in poverty? Shorty, you smell like poverty. And they flash that ego and they flash the money. And it's, I'm better than you. I'm bigger than you. Envy me. Envy my money. Envy my success. Why would you even... Hassan Campbell, why would you even buy jewelry when you live in a suburban neighborhood? Nobody in your suburban neighborhood is impressed with your jewelry. They're going to look at your jewelry and say, oh, he's ghetto. So all this jewelry and gear that you're buying is so that you can go back to BX Bronx River and floss the shit they don't have. And then you're going to do it with an air of arrogance? I mean, the way he described the situation, it didn't even sound like this man was disrespecting him. It sounded like he came up respectful. I liked your first video. In the second video, you got disrespectful, which is true. Hassan did a video about one of his friends that got murdered in Bronx River, and he was very respectful. And you know what happened? All the people in the comments said, "Where's the stuff about turning off TVs, Hassan?" When it's people you don't know, it's snack boxes getting rocked and TVs turned off and noodles spilled, cup of noodles, SpaghettiOs all on the concrete. You make a joke out of people's murder. You make a joke out of the suffering and the pain of gang violence. But when it's one of your friends, when it happens to one of your friends, all of a sudden it's respectful, rest in peace, you know. So Hassan said, oh yeah, you're right. Let me be disrespectful to this one too. And now the latest video, I mean, I don't need to say everything he did in the latest. He went too far. He dry snitched on a whole bunch of people, including himself. He basically insinuated that the people from his block were pussy from not go shoot up and kill the people who shot his friend. So he's basically instigating more gang violence. And then he goes to Bronx River, and when he has to use this term G-check. The man came up to speak with you about his dead friend, but you gotta use this thug term G-check. You don't G-check me. I'm Hassan Campbell. G-check. The man just came to have a conversation with you. Why do you want to be a G? Who the fuck wants to be a G? Isn't that the whole point, Hassan Campbell, is to not be a G? So you're going to be out there in Bronx River, 50 years old. Correct me if I'm wrong. Hassan Campbell is over 50 years old. You're going to be in Bronx River flashing your piece on people? What? Bro. Like I said, man, it's not to judge. I'm not just saying this to judge. You know, I used to live in the Bronx myself. Parkchester. And, you know, people pay a lot of money. A lot of money. So they don't have to live around people like me and Hassan Campbell. So I'm just going to wrap this up because I'm kind of at a loss for words. I don't know what to say. I don't know what not to say. But I will say this. You're headed for self-destruction. You can't keep going, doing what you're doing. You can't walk around feeling yourself like that. You can't be a millionaire and go hang out in the projects to flash jewelry around people who don't have it. And you talk about you're hanging in the barbershop with working class men. Well, they're working class, but you aren't. They gotta go out and work for their money. You don't. You get to talk shit and then look down on everyone, and they should be, you know, they should be grateful to know I'm Hassan Campbell. You should be grateful to even know me, dog. I hope the next video I'm doing about Hassan has something to do with him picking up the torch of anti-child abuse advocacy again. And I hope my next video about Hassan is not about him getting his TV turned off. Because you know what the really sad thing about it? If it does happen, who could really feel sorry for him? When he wouldn't even heed his own advice. When he had to go to a dangerous place to do dangerous things for no reason. We had to try and be a thug and dress like a thug and act like a thug at 50 years old. It's time to grow up as a human race. Maybe it's too late. It probably is. But I refuse to sit here and not talk about what the real problem is. It's child abuse. Hassan Campbell is a perfect example of someone who was abused as a child and then turned out to be a shooter. There's a lot of them. You know, I just saw the article about the DC sniper. All right, so just to wrap this up, don't ever tell someone you smell like poverty. Don't ever say it to someone. Don't ever talk to people like that. You're not God. You're not Supreme Hassan. Because you got jewelry on. You smell like poverty. Why are you trying to go make people who don't have it look up to you, envy you, because you got the latest hot shit while the planet is dying? I mean, Hassan Campbell talks a lot about the end times. If you really thought this was the end times, would you be going around buying motor scooters and clothing and jewelry? Is that the way we're going to spend our time in the end times? Is that what we're going to do? Have a big party? Have no self-reflection on how we brought this disaster on ourselves? Have no self-reflection on the children who had no choice but to become monsters because they were hurt through no fault of their own? See, Hassan Campbell doesn't talk about child abuse anymore. He doesn't talk about the Great Plague anymore. All he talks about is gang violence and why are these men shooting each other. But you know what? That's why they're shooting each other. And it's not enough to say, when are we, that's one of Hassan's favorite terms, when are we as a people, when are you gonna? You're the one with the microphone and you're a millionaire and you're famous. And when are you gonna? That's all we get is when are we gonna? When are you gonna set the example and reinvest your money into your community? When are you gonna set the example and stop acting like a big teenager? You can't take any hits to your ego from some kid who doesn't have shit, whose friend just got murdered. But how dare he question this great supreme Hassan Campbell? Well, I've rambled on long enough. I'm going to reiterate. I hope the next video that I'm doing about Hassan Campbell is about the fact that he took up anti-child abuse advocacy again. And I hope the next video that I'm doing about Hassan Campbell is not that he got his TV turned off for being an arrogant